That's right. The Illini guys, Brad Sturdy, Mike Cagley, Larry Smith, right here after you. It's hard to believe that really this is kind of the last weekend, really, until we start talking football, right? We'll talk about media days
Ooh.
here in a minute. That's coming up, next week in Las Vegas, of all places. We had to twist Matt Stevens' arm to get him to go. He didn't want to go to Vegas. I don't know why. Who doesn't want to go to Vegas? No, I'm just kidding.
He's such a giver.
He
Oh
really
man,
is.
just what a
Yeah, yeah,
giver.
he is. He said, no. I'll take the
I'll take
sacrifice.
one for the team.
Yeah, I'll take one for the team. So we'll talk media days. Also, Kendrick Prince coming up bottom of the hour to talk recruiting. He had a piece this week that if you think Illinois is done with this year's men's basketball roster, au contraire, Monfrere, they may have something else coming up. Speaking of Vegas, so Big Ten Media Days is next week, right after the Summer League ends. And guys, Terrence Shannon Jr., as we thought, has just looked fantastic. I saw one article from a national publication that said 7 players that they should shut down right now in Summer League. Obviously, one was Cooper Flagg, tremendous couple of games, the number 1 overall pick had, but one of the 7 was Terrence Shannon Jr.
Yeah, Terrence Shannon has been. I mean, here's the thing: you watch this guy dominate the summer league, and you think, how can he not get more minutes in the regular league?
Right.
Because there's other guys who are playing more than him he's just tearing up in the summer league. Yeah, he's been so good. We knew this. I mean, Mike and I have had these podcasts, and Larry, you've got your lists, and we all feel like he's probably had the best single season in Illinois basketball history.
Yeah.
And yet, so we all think he's good, and we all knew he was good. It's taken Minnesota maybe longer to figure out how good he is, and maybe it's just one of those coaches who doesn't play rookies. Well, he's not going to be a rookie anymore. Play the man, and then later on you'll pay the man.
That's right.
Yeah, you see some of the way some of these coaches do things, and it does make you think to yourself, I could be a coach, because the athleticism with which Terrence Shannon has he's a guy who can compare with the NBA's best. And with his age, you have the physical maturity that allows him to jump right in and compete. And I was a little shocked if he had maybe been an athletic 18 or 19-year-old, then I would understand the hesitation to play him. But with his experiences plus the work ethic and training ethic that he has, I did find it to be a little bit of a mystery as to why they didn't utilize him. Why let a year go by?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just he's special. And again, he was in not only the 5 years in college, but he spent a year in prep school after high school. So he's really 6 years removed. I think he'll be 25, I think, here this summer. But yeah, he's just athletically, he's so much more athletic and stronger and quicker than anybody trying to stop him out there. I don't know if there's another wing that can match his size and his speed. I mean, just some of the highlight reel stuff that he's doing. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and we'll continue to watch them here in the final days of the summer league. But yeah, he certainly has done what he needed. He sat out the game the other night, Wednesday night, when they came from behind without him and got the win. I believe it was over Phoenix. The two of the guys, the 2 number 1 picks, have kind of righted themselves. We talked about Kasparis Yakachonis having some struggles at the California Classic last week. And that set of 3 games in San Francisco, he's come on stronger and kind of has shaken off some of the yips, if you will, I guess he had there. And then Will Riley for Washington has had a nice run as well.
It is, and it is such a transition, and we always think like it's going to be easy. Well, this kid's going to be he was drafted here, so it's going to be an easy transition. Well, it doesn't work that way. I mean, and everybody's going to have their own thing, and they have different roles too. For example, a player whose job is to maybe run the court and do lob dunks, it's a much easier transition than a player's going to have the ball in his hands,
Right.
all the time. And a player's going to spot up and shoot threes. Well, okay, that the basket didn't change, right? It's the same size. So there are easier transitions depending on position. I think we've seen that with KJ. It's a tougher transition when you have the ball a lot. And Will Riley's, they're using him in the right way. It's spot ups, it's ISOs, it's attacking closeouts, those things. KJ's having to be, be more ball screens and usages and things that maybe, he has to make adjustments to the size and speed of guys who are in the NBA. So yeah, it makes sense that you're going to have transition, but both guys finished or played much better as things go on. I thought KJ played a little better, and Will's shown what he is. He can score, puts the ball in the basket.
Yeah, I really think that it's underestimated the difference in athleticism. You know, when you go into the NBA, the guy sitting on the end of the bench may be one of the best basketball players that you'll ever see, and he can't even get onto the court. And then when you think of the athleticism, you know, the NBA and the NFL, you know, you can't be like, you know, the fat guy who doesn't move well as a general rule. I mean, maybe one or two exceptions, but I will tell you that you get into there and it's got to be just crazy because all these guys in college are pretty good players. And then they get into the NBA and they're finding out like, oh, every one of these guys can jump higher than I can. They can move quicker than I can. They can run faster than I can. Now, all of a sudden, you got to start thinking about the fundamentals a little more seriously than maybe you had done in the past. That's got to be a heck of a wake up call.
Yeah, no question. There are three other former Illini playing in Vegas. Probably the best of the three so far has been Coleman Hawkins with Golden State. I've always thought his game just fits well as a stretch four. He's an unselfish player. I mean, he gets just as excited as with an assist he does a made basket, rebounds, defends well, blocks. And Dane Danger is another one playing with KJ in Miami. They didn't play together, of course, at Illinois. He's had some moments. Quincy Guerrier with Toronto has played only one game. He's usually a coach's decision, did not play. So who knows what's going on there. There are some current Illini women players in action all around the country, and that's kind of cool. The Illini gal, Ciara Parchment, talked to her before she left town. She's with the Canadian team right now. There is Manuela Alves, a fellow freshman who's playing with Brazil, and then Irene Noya Catora playing with Spain. So Shauna didn't have a full unit to work with at Ubben because they're all playing elsewhere around the world.
Yeah, that's great for your program. That's
Yeah.
a great showcase. Say, hey, we've got girls who are playing on international teams. We got international players who are playing at the highest level they can play at, right? You know, and so this is cool. And I think it's good for the program. Although you'd love to have them there in the summer, they'll be there later and they've been in and out. But it's more important, I think, to showcase their program. It's not like they're not playing basketball. They're learning, and you'll have plenty of time when they get back on campus. So this, but it kind of also is a testament, tells you how far Shauna has brought this program and how well they're recruiting. They're recruiting players that not only do all the other colleges want, their countries want them. So that's a good thing.
Right.
It's so striking to see the difference in this program that I'm not certain that any of us thought was possible to travel this far, this fast. Because, you know, you go back to 4 years ago and Illinois had as much chance of getting an international Olympian as I have a chance of flying to Italy on my own power. And it certainly is, it's just incredible what Sean has built. And then to get this type of advertising, and it's really hard as you're listening to this show, you have to remember that the group of parents and athletes who are true D1 prospects at the very top is a very small group. And this is the type of thing that they see and notice. And that's just additional credibility that the team has. I think it's really important and probably something that most of the time we don't even pay attention to.
Yeah, and like you said, it's great experience. I remember seeing, the opening night on Ion, the one preseason night that we had, the WNBA on Ion on Friday night, watching Manuela Alves take on Angel Reese, as she was part of the Brazilian team playing against the Chicago Sky in a preseason game down in Baton Rouge, and to see her nice skill set. I mean, she's only 18 years old, right? But, played very well against these professionals. And like you said, that's only going to help this program, even though they're not there. What a great, the momentum that Shauna has and his coaching staff has with his women's program to not only get in the NCAA for a second time in 3 years with Shauna, but then to win a game, and to build on that. And now they've, have there's a lot of open spots for playing time with all the seniors who have left the program. So a lot of fun right now on that side of Ubben. We talked about the media day. Next week it is media days for the Big Ten. Usually it's over in Indianapolis, right? But this time it goes from Nap City to Sin City out to Vegas. Brad, I know you've done this several times. Outside of obviously the ambiance, and there's a lot to do outside of the conference room where this is going on. What's kind of the big thing that you look forward to every year when you go to media days?
It's fun. I think the biggest thing is when you get the time where it's more like off the record stuff and off kind of the side stuff and those I know last year I got to do some like some interviews for this show one-on-one with Brett Underwood, with Kylan Boswell, Ty Rogers last year. So those are the fun things. So you got to kind of talk to people off the record. I think also I always like hearing what other coaches have to say and kind of seeing what they think, because I feel like you don't get that. We don't get to see them up close as much unless they're in town. So I love that part of it. You get to talk to other beat writers and get some input from them. But I love the off the record stuff that you can talk to those coaches about, because that's so much fun. They tell you things that, they obviously aren't going to say in the main media when they're on TV, but they'll definitely tell you some things that are interesting off the record.
Well, and I expect, over, Indiana's scheduling, that should be a question that Signetti might get tired of listening to. But I think there's a lot of neat things that we can get out of this. And the funny thing is Brett Bielema's been on his media parade, hitting almost every outlet that you can hit, with a few notable exceptions. But Brett Bielema has been out there kind of doing a master's class in that. Now Illinois is going to have to go out and win. But boy, he's gotten the national press to really pay attention to Illinois football. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not certain that Illinois has had the football program looked at as closely as he's gotten it since Red Grange, maybe. I mean, seriously, he's on every outlet. I mean, that didn't even happen in the 80s with Mike White.
I would agree with that. He certainly has not now in the digital age, in the social media age. You're exactly right. I would say probably the last time probably was when Jeff George was quarterback. John Makovic was here. I think those times that he went out. I think the opening game they played at USC out in the Coliseum, like on like Labor Day weekend or something. It was a primetime game on ABC. That probably was the last time. I think you're right. It's a lot of fun to have Illinois as part of that conversation. And I was just on DWS with our friend Brian Barnhart earlier and mentioned to him, I said, look, here's where who would have thought in year 5 of the Brett Bielema era that he would produce an 8-win season and it'd be a disappointment. And that's kind of where we are right now, because they win 10 wins last year. They've never won 10 games in back-to-back years. And yet the national pundits are saying, hey, this is a team that could go 10-2. I mean, I joked, you guys know, I've said it before. I joked when Bielema got here. I said, hey, if this guy gets back-to-back 8-win seasons, they might build a statue of him. You may want to contact the sculptor, because if they already were close, 10 wins back-to-back. That's right. You may want to start kind of drawing that up and deciding how that should look. Okay, we got to take a quick time out. We've got lots coming up on the way. Talking about media days, that's going on this week in Atlanta. Some comments from their commissioner, Greg Sankey. We'll talk about that. That's on the way, and Kendrick Prince as well, and still more to come here. It's the Sports Spectacular, powered by IlliniGuys.com.